Hello students, today we're going to talk about painting over a photograph, and I will be the first to admit that I am no artist. I am a photography teacher who tries very hard to impart things to you. So we are going to also experience using a tablet that we've borrowed from the video program in order to use a pen rather than the mouse as a brush. I think this will work a lot better for your product. Now, I'm going to show you the little before and after here. I have a picture of my daughter just looking through this little pumpkin or heart cutout. And as I put the painting on, you can see that I've kind of done some brushing over top of the painting, okay, to make it look a little bit more like a painting rather than a portrait. Again, I am not an artist, but I believe that by trying to use the pen, it gives you a lot more control than if you're just kind of painting this over sloppily with a mouse. So, with that said, the very first thing we need to do is we need to go and select our mixer brush. And once you plug in your your tablet, you can use both your mouse and your tablet, and I'll show you in person how that works. I select the mixer brush tool, and notice that now I have kind of a neat preview of what this brush will look like, and in just a second I'll show you how that works. Okay, but we have to do a couple things up top first. The first thing we need to do is we need to click Sample All Layers, because what we're going to do is we're actually going to just add a new layer on top of the background. So there's really no reason or need to duplicate the background because we're working on a layer on top of the background. Basically, we're sampling the layer underneath without ruining that background. And then we need to change all of these things up here to 100%. The flow, the mix, you can either type it in or drag it, the load, and the wetness of the brush. Okay, we are also going to do something over here that says when you hover over this, oops, a second, this is going to say clean the brush after every, why is it not loading here? But clean brush after every stroke, and we want to make sure that that is selected, and we want to make sure that we're going to turn off the loading after each stroke. So we're going to turn that actually off. So what should happen is you should see a little checkerboard here. The last thing that we're going to do is we're going to pick this second brush over, and this is called a round blunt brush, and again, the size will be up to you depending on what you think you need when you actually zoom in to brush your portrait. So with that, I feel like I have all my settings done. This is good with my mouse, and now as I bring, which you can't see off screen here, you're going to see that I'm moving the pen over top of my board here, and you'll see that you can see the direction of how the brush strokes are going and how things are moving. So my suggestion to you is that you make a couple different layers, and that each layer you work on a different part of the painting or portrait, whatever you're working on. For example, one for the face, one maybe for her dress, and then one, oops, let's cancel out, one for, the background. That way, if you kind of mess up a little bit, instead of hitting Control-Alt-Z a million times or having to delete and ditch the entire painting part that you worked on, you can just do one part at a time. So I now hit Control+. And again, the instructions I'm giving are some that I got from a very good video tutorial DVD package that I'm looking for. I also want to show you that by using your brackets keys on your computer, either the left or the right bracket, you can increase or decrease the size of your brush. And the instructor that I used indicated that it's okay for there to look like there are brush strokes. And the best thing to do is to kind of outline some of the features of the face first. And then from there, continue to go the direction that seems the most natural. But then after a while, when you kind of get out of your, specific kind of mouth here and lips, okay, when you get into the teeth part, you can just kind of go back and forth and just do a little bit of painting here to mesh it in. Because the idea is it should look like a brush stroke, almost like when you put, a filter, a painting filter on top of a photograph. It should be something that looks painted. Okay, so again, do I expect these to be masterpieces? No. As you saw, mine is far from any kind of masterpiece. However, what I do want you to experience, in addition to using the tablet, is the idea of getting a touch for actually painting over top of a photograph. Because I think, and you might find in the picture that you choose for yourself, a better photograph or a portrait that you might want to explore to actually get to look a little bit more like a painting. So again, the more that you go over top of the same spot, the softer it will be, and the less kind of brush strokes in it, it'll be kind of more muted and a little more mild. And that's acceptable, that's okay. But again, you want it to have still some form, some look that you've actually painted over top of it. Now again, this can be actually somewhat time consuming, and that's why I suggested that you create different layers for different parts, so that if you happen to mess up on something, you can ditch one layer without ditching the entire progress you've made on the photograph itself. And I'm going to assign each of you a class period to actually work on this this tablet, and I may even try and acquire some additional tablets for that purpose, because again, it does take a little bit of time and a little bit of touch, because where you feel like you're touching and where you're looking on the tablet, you kind of have to get used to it. It's like getting used to a new mouse. Okay, so really there's not a whole lot to be taught here, and again, all these settings up top are the things that I was concerned with, that you have the sample all layers checked, or obviously nothing's going to show up, that all these things are set to 100, that this has the little off button, and this is set so that you see the kind of like those squares there, okay, the current brush load, and that you've chosen the round blunt brush. And again, if you want to try different brushes, if you want to try different sizes, if you want to try and mix of some of these things, you're more than welcome to do that. But this is meant to be just an introduction to how you paint over a photograph. And I think it's really neat, regardless of whether you're actually using a mouse or using the tablet, you kind of see what's going on with your brush strokes and what direction they're going and how you're kind of pulling and touching on those and pulling those out of there. And again, as always, if these look a little too cat-like and crazy for you, you can hit Control-Alt-Z to back up any issues or any mistakes that you have made. So let me zoom back out here, and again, I only did like a touch of the face here, okay, and the hair to kind of give it, again, that painted look. And then this was my final, again, hardly Picasso, but trying to make it look a little bit more like a painting rather than a photograph itself. So I wish you luck. Some of you that are artists will probably have a really nice touch and feel to this, and if nothing else, I want to give you the exposure to this idea and to using the tablet so we can see if it's something we want to continue using in the future. I wish you luck.